Yo, welcome to Millennial Score Magic Card Q2. Today we're going to be looking at the PikaRom versus Urshifu matchup. This is one of the games that I played on stream from my Players Cup keys. I think it does a good job of showing the general matchup. This is against the Cinccino version, so a little different from the one that you will typically see, but the matchup is essentially the same thing. So we see our opening hand. We have a Boltund. Beautiful. You love to see it. It's actually a very good opening hand. We're going second, which makes sense. Urshifu usually likes to go first anyway, and especially the Cinccino version really likes to go first. So they start their Urshi. You're not super excited to see it, but it is a winnable match. Not a good one, but a winnable matchup. We're going to go ahead and hit that level ball. They're going to start to search out their draw engine. Our main goal in this matchup is going to be, obviously, we want to electrify to Mewtwo, and then we're going to see if they're able to pull off both the Jirachi and the Mimikyu. If they get the Mimikyu down, they're probably going to Goon Ping or do something to hit our Mewtwo. Totally fine. What we're going to do is we're going to use a second Boltund to KO that Mimikyu. That is how the game should go. So, opening hand. Let's go ahead and kind of like set our goals for every turn. We're going to go ahead and speed energy. We're going to look for something to discard off of this to grab a Mewtwo. Hopefully off the speed, we can draw into like a PikaRom or something so we can store it in the discard for later. You do not want to bench it. I have beaten Urshifu where I had to bench PikaRom, but those games are... You don't want that. You don't want that. So go ahead and speed energy first, see what we draw. We can go ahead and quick ball away one of those energies. We play Koko. Koko Prism is a very big deal in this matchup as well. Check our prizes. We see Koko's there. We did prize at Dedenne. We have our Peaks. We have our Raichus. Check the rest of them. There we go. Hammers, stamps. Prize several quick balls, which is a really big deal. Going to make it harder to find that Koko later on. And the rest of the stuff is generally there. Go ahead and grab the Mewtwo. Throw down the Swell. We don't know if they're playing any stadiums or not, but there's no reason not to put the Swell down, get it out of our deck. If they do play a stadium, we can, obviously Swell will bump it automatically. So it just generally makes sense, and we can go ahead and Marnie. This Air Balloon, we could put on the active. Not necessary, though. The odds of this getting KO'd next turn are pretty darn high. Just go retreat, evolve, Bird Keeper, draw an energy, knock it out. You don't assume this Boltund's ever going to survive in this matchup. So no reason to put a balloon on it. We want to charm the Mewtwo. We do play one of Big Charm, so we don't want to put the balloon there either. And we're just going to go ahead and Marnie. See if we can draw. That's a misplay. The balloon should not be going there. The Big Charm should be going there. And we drew the Big Charm. Hand is absolutely terrible, but we do get the Electrify off, which is generally the goal. So really hoping this Boltund survives a turn, and/or we can top deck, and/or they have to Marnie us. We'll see what happens. My opponent doesn't really have anything going on, so getting the knockout isn't unrealistic, but maybe they can't get a good follow-up. Maybe they can't get down the Mimikyu and a Zigzagoon. Maybe they can't get down the Jirachi-GX. Maybe they can't get down any of that stuff. Who knows? We see a quick ball. Opponent potentially going to go for a Dedenne, going to go for another Cinccino, going to go for a Snorlax or a Jirachi. Okay. Their hand must not be good. The Marnie did its job. It bought us a turn that we really needed. They do get a capture energy. This is kind of unfortunate. This matchup's actually a little harder, I think, than the ability version. Yes, it's a little slower of a deck, but Stamp does not work against them. Or it shouldn't work against them as well, because they have traits or make do, or whatever you want to call it. They grab another Minccino. They're going to get set up with their draw engine. Let's see if they get down another Urshifu. If not, we could get a little lucky. Oh, there it is. So in theory, we could have top decked like a Dedenne or a Quick Ball or something like that and gotten the boss KO on the Rapid Strike, but they got a second one down, so the boss KO play and would still be cool. It's impossible, though, so we did not top deck. Totally fine. What we're going to do here is we can just electrify to the Boltund. This gives us a chance to hit if they do get down the Mimikyu. We have something that can actually attack it. There's no reason to load more energy on the Mewtwo anyway. I mean, you attached, sure. And put 2 onto the board. Not a great turn from us, but the board state is looking okay. The fact that this Boltund survives gives us a chance to win the game. Not a good chance, but a chance. Here's the Bird Keeper. My opponent has a massive hand. Thankfully not a boss. And they're bench locked. So now they're going to need nets in order to get down a Jirachi or a Mimikyu. So it's a little harder for the Cinccino version because they get bench locked so easily to get down all of those pieces. There is no Stealthy Hood in this deck. I don't think you needed Stealthy Hood for the Player's Cup keys because there wasn't that much Urshifu that was out there. It just wasn't worth a tech slot for, I think I played less than 10 out of all 50 of my keys. So it's not worth a tech slot if you're going to play it that little. PCOM, they do get the VMAX. Remember, they have to evolve the one on the bench. They do. Because then it has to come into the active as they VMAX. All right, and they clean up their bench incredibly successfully. So my opponent has just about the most perfect turn they could have asked for. They clean up their bench. They get down the Jirachi-GX. And they get the Gale Thrust to KO my Boltund. The good news is there's no Mimikyu. So we can attack with our Mewtwo next turn. The bad news is kind of have to bench the PikaRom. We're hoping for a top deck. Let me get one. Okay, cool. So top deck the Professor's Research. You'll love to see it. Again, this shouldn't be an Air Balloon. That's a huge misplay. That should be a Big Charm, a pretty big difference maker in this matchup potentially. Because this prevents the Gale Thrust plus G-Max Rapid Flow on the Mewtwo and forces them to Gale Thrust it twice. Or do 3 Zigzagoon Pings, which is actually, it's technically possible for them still, but it's incredibly unlikely that they get that because they need all of their nets on the Zigzagoon for the rest of the game. What we're going to do here, go ahead and bench the Koko, Big Charm the Boltund. No reason not to. I don't think it changes any math, but like, go for it. And then go ahead and hit that research. Thankfully, that means we get a full blitz off, and we're looking for a second Mewtwo off of this research. Okay. So we do draw into a second Mewtwo. Very nice. We have a Goss and a Crobat for next turn. But now we want to look at how is my opponent going to win the game? My opponent's currently going to go through a Boltund, probably, and then a Mewtwo. Or they can go through 2 Mewtwo's. So what I'm thinking here, and I'm actually not 100% sure on this play. Let me know what you think about it below if you disagree or agree. What I'm thinking here is we bench the Mewtwo, attach to the Mewtwo, pop the Koko. And the reason for this is if they go Boss, G-Max Rapid Flow, KO Koko, hit this Mewtwo, then we lose to a Gale Thrust next turn. And I'm thinking we need the Koko. The Koko is really important. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to attack with a fresh Mewtwo next turn. So I'm thinking even though it's only for 1, we go ahead and pop the Koko now, attach to Mewtwo, full blitz to the Mewtwo, and kind of hope from there that they ain't got it like that. We don't want to bench Crobat. We don't want to bench Peak, obviously. We don't want to bench any easy prize. Boltund is the only easy prize we're going to give my opponent here. So yeah, that's the idea. We have 1 energy left in deck because we drew several. Prize 1, I believe. So bench the Mewtwo, attach the basic to the Mewtwo. No reason to use the speed yet. We might have to speed next turn to draw cards. Who knows? Pop the Koko to prevent it from getting KO'd because we need the Koko to we need that extra energy on it. That's the main point there. We don't want the Koko to get KO'd. They could also go Goon Ping G-Max Rapid Flow, hit active, KO Koko, which would be very bad because then they just need a Gale Thrust Boss play to win the game. Yep, there's the dance. And the full blitz. Power up the Mewtwo. We're not in the worst spot in the world, even though we are definitely down right now. My opponent still needs quite a bit of pieces. They have no, they have a Cinccino now. They're going to be able to start making do, which is really unfortunate for us because we are clearly going to have to make a comeback here. And this comeback is going to rely on Reset Stamp. And a Reset Stamp to 1 suddenly becomes a Reset Stamp to, you top deck, you have 2, then you make do, 4, make do again, that's 6. So a Reset Stamp to 1 becomes a Reset Stamp to 6. Not a good life. Not a good life to be. So another play we could have made here would have been to go for the full send. The issue with that play, like attach active, full send, the issue with that play is they could just hit us twice and then we lose all of our energy. So probably not optimal, although it is possible that it would have been a good play. They do pull off the Mimikyu. Totally fine with us, given the fact that we have a balloon on the active. Balloon actually going to pay off right here. And so we're just going to go ahead and retreat it. We already don't want it in the active because it's going to have damage on it. And then we're going to go ahead and see what they do. They might have whiffed energy. It'd be very good for us. They only play 6 energies. They're already down at least one of them. My opponent with the long pause. We're actually watching at 1.5 times speed. Let's just show you just how long this was. Yeah, they do get the energy assist, so that's still a good play. They shut off my Mewtwo. They take the Urshifu out of harm's way. Check the hammer first. Unfortunately, tails. Hammer being heads would be nice because then they do not threaten the Gmax Rapid Flow next turn. Now, what we're going to do here, I forgot to talk about our game plan before. So we always check the hammer first. We'd like to get rid of, well, depending what happens, but we'd probably get rid of this. KOing the Mimikyu is really nice here because then we just go knock this out, knock out the Jirachi for game. If we go knock out the Urshifu, we still need 2 attacks to win the game. So either way, we need 2 attacks. By KOing the Mimikyu, we prevent a weird checkmate play where they go bench Zigzagoon, hit this, boss KO the Boltund. So KOing Mimikyu here is optimal. This plays around the fact we have no Stealthyhood. This is one of the reasons why there are 4 boss in the list. Also, 4 boss is just kind of really good. But 4 boss in the list allows us to go KO this Mimikyu even more easily. So boss it up. Retreat into the Mewtwo, not the Boltund. We don't want to give them the easy prizes. Take the KO. We also get energy out of the deck. Go ahead and throw it. This does give us a potential Lightning Ride GX play. Now let's see, what does my opponent have to answer this? Ideally, they can... Well, they have a lot of plays. They have a lot of plays. Okay, they're going to go for the boss play. They should have made do first, most likely. You do one make do first, see what you draw, and then you bench the Mewtwo and see what you draw. They're probably going to go KO that Boltund this turn, and they're probably going to be looking for a Rapid Strike energy as well. They have the Rapid Strike energy. There's the other make do. A little bit of awkward sequencing for my opponent, but this is such a good matchup for them. Doesn't really matter. There's the boss. They're going to go ahead and Rapid Flow, KO the Boltund, and hit the Mewtwo. Presumably the one with 4 energy and the balloon. Actually, you want to hit the one without the balloon because I'm going to go for a... Well, I'm trying to think of which one is the optimal hit here. I think it's the one without the balloon. Because... No, it's the one with the balloon because this turn I want to take a KO with the one with the balloon. And then next turn I want to retreat boss tandem shot. Yeah. So KOing with the one, or hitting the one with the balloon is the optimal play by my opponent. I'm going to go ahead and retreat. Boss, KO the Urshi. Stamp. The reason we're going to KO the Urshi here instead of the Jirachi is because A, we have the guaranteed tandem shock next turn. We don't have a boss. That's okay. That's future us problem. But the big thing here is we want to get that energy off the field to prevent a simple Gmax Rapid Flow. So ideally, we'd go KO Jirachi and essentially say, I'm going to tag bolt whatever you have in the active. We don't need boss. The issue with that play is they have an energy, and it just makes it even easier for them to win the game. So we're going to force them to need boss plus energy now and a switch card. Well, no, they have an energy on the bench. So I think this is the optimal play here. But in theory, if they didn't have that energy, had we hit a hammer earlier or something like that, we would have gone KO Jirachi in order to say, I'm going to tag bolt GX any of your Urshifus in the act. We have Quick Ball for Goss. We did know we had 2 Quick Balls prize. The odds of hitting one of them were pretty high. Wrote this in Chino. It's their pivot. So they need boss and energy. Let's see. What do they get off the stamp? Got a Scoop Up Net for the Mewtwo. That's the guaranteed boss. And unfortunately, we also gave them a Dedenne. So my opponent is going to take this game. But this is the general game plan of how it's supposed to go. Try and take out that Mimikyu. Ideally, you take out the Jirachi, like I said. They still need to make do, but they get to see so much of their... Like I said, ideally, you go to KO Mimikyu, KO Jirachi, tag bolt and Urshifu. We had to make this play a little awkward to at least force them to have the boss as well. They send me the green smiley face. You know, they were super shocked. They were like, wow, I didn't know my Urshifu deck that was tech to beat PikaRom could beat it. I don't blame them, you know? Urshifu just has a bad matchup against PikaRom. What can I say? But that's generally how the matchup should go. Ideally, you don't stamp them into Scoop Up Net for Mewtwo, Dedenne, and then they have 2 make dos. But sometimes you do, and it's okay. But hopefully that gives you an idea of how to play the matchup without Stealthyhood. Like I said, 4 Boss is there to help you KO that Mimikyu whenever you get a chance. Remember, like, comment, subscribe if you made it to the end of the video. Congratulations, I am now going to be on your recommended videos. Make sure to click on them. They always have the same logo on the front. Check out the Twitch channel. That's where I live stream all the stuff. I'll be testing for the regional qualifiers of Players Cup 4, which I should have qualified for. We'll find out for sure, I guess, but highly likely. So I'll be testing for that a bunch, playing some more tournaments as well, trying to go full try-hard mode. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.